Hey, what's up everyone? So I need to tell you about the biggest mistake I made last year that literally cost me hundreds of dollars and almost made me quit gardening forever. And I know some of you are making the exact same mistake right now without even realizing it. Picture this. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I'm feeling good, ready to start my composting journey because I've been watching all these videos about sustainability and saving money. I grab a bin, throw in my kitchen scraps, feel like an absolute eco-warrior, and then I wait. And wait, and wait some more. 3 months later, I open that bin expecting beautiful rich compost, and instead, I'm hit with the most disgusting smell you can imagine. I'm talking rotten eggs mixed with death. My neighbors actually complained. I'm not even joking. Mrs. Henderson from next door knocked on my door asking if something died in my yard. The whole thing turned into this black, slimy mess that looked like something from a horror movie. I had fruit flies everywhere, like a cloud of them just hovering around my bin, and I was pretty sure something was living in there because I heard scratching sounds at night. My wife was ready to make me throw the whole thing out. She kept saying it was attracting rats and that we were going to get fined by the homeowners association. I felt like such a failure. Here I was trying to do this good thing for the environment, trying to save some money, and instead I created this biohazard in my backyard. I almost gave up completely. I was literally about to drag that bin to the curb and pretend this whole composting thing never happened. But then I discovered what I was doing wrong, and once I fixed it, everything changed. Now I have the most amazing compost you've ever seen. My garden is thriving. I'm saving over $50 every month on fertilizer, and my plants are literally twice the size they used to be. Mrs. Henderson actually asked me for gardening advice last week. Can you believe that? So today I'm going to break down everything you need to know about composting, the mistakes that are ruining your compost right now, and the simple fixes that will turn your kitchen scraps into black gold. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to wonder why you ever bought fertilizer in the first place. But first, let me show you the difference. This is my compost from when I was doing it wrong. Look at this. It's wet, it's clumpy, it smells terrible, and it's basically useless. Honestly, this is trash. This would kill your plants if you put it in your garden. Now look at this. This is my compost now. It's dark, it's crumbly, it smells like fresh earth after rain, and my plants absolutely love this stuff. The difference is insane. This transformation happened in just a few months once I figured out what I was doing wrong. And the crazy part? The fixes were so simple. I'm talking about changes that took me maybe 5 extra minutes a week. That's it. 5 minutes stood between total failure and incredible success. So stick with me because I'm about to save you months of frustration and a lot of money. Okay, so here's what nobody tells you about composting, and this is where most people mess up completely. Composting isn't just about throwing food scraps in a pile and hoping for the best. There's actually science behind it. But don't worry, I'm going to make this super simple, because I'm not a scientist either. I'm just a regular person who figured this out the hard way. Think of your compost bin like a tiny city full of billions of workers. These workers are bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms. And they have one job: break down your organic matter into compost. But here's the thing. Just like us, these little workers need the right conditions to do their job. They need food, they need air, they need water, and they need the right temperature. When even one of these things is off, the whole system breaks down. And that's exactly what happened to me. The biggest mistake I made, and the one I see everywhere in Facebook groups and Reddit forums, is getting the food ratio completely wrong. You need 2 types of materials in your compost: browns and greens. And no, I'm not talking about the color. Browns are carbon-rich materials like dried leaves, cardboard, newspaper, and dead plant material. Greens are nitrogen-rich materials like fresh grass clippings, food scraps, and coffee grounds. Here's the magic ratio that changed everything for me. You want roughly 3 parts. Brown to 1 part green. That's it. 3 to 1. When I was failing at composting, I was dumping tons of food scraps in there, with barely any brown material because I thought more food meant faster compost. Wrong. The result? Too much nitrogen, not enough carbon, and that created that disgusting wet slimy mess I showed you earlier. It was basically rotting instead of composting. But it gets better. Let me tell you about the other mistakes that were killing my compost. Mistake number 2 is not adding enough air. Your compost needs oxygen. Those microorganisms I mentioned, most of them need air to survive. When your compost doesn't get enough air, different bacteria take over. These are anaerobic bacteria, and they're the ones that create that horrible rotten egg smell. That's hydrogen sulfide gas, and it's the same stuff that makes sewers smell terrible. The fix is so simple it's almost embarrassing. Just turn your compost once a week. That's it. Use a shovel or a pitchfork, spend 5 minutes mixing everything up, and boom, you're adding oxygen throughout the pile. I started doing this and within 2 weeks, the smell completely disappeared. My wife couldn't believe it. She actually came outside and said it smelled normal. Mistake number 3 is moisture levels. Your compost should feel like a wrung-out sponge. Not dripping wet, not bone dry, but somewhere in the middle. Too wet, and you get that slimy mess again because there's no room for air between the particles. Too dry and the decomposition process basically stops because those microorganisms need water to survive and move around. I check my compost every few days now, and if it feels too dry, I spray it with a hose for like 30 seconds. If it's too wet, I add more brown materials to soak up the excess moisture. Now, here's something that blew my mind. Temperature matters way more than I thought. A healthy compost pile should get warm, like really warm. We're talking 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit in the center. This heat is actually created by all those microorganisms working hard to break things down. When your pile is at the right temperature, it can break down materials in as little as 3 to 4 weeks instead of 3 to 4 months. Alright, so let's talk about what you should actually put in your compost because this is where things get interesting and where a lot of people make mistakes that can really mess things up. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I started, I thought I could just throw everything organic in there. Boy, was I wrong. First, the good stuff. Definitely compost your fruit and vegetable scraps. Apple cores, banana peels, carrot tops, lettuce, potato peels, cucumber ends, all of that is perfect. These break down relatively fast and add great nutrients to your compost. Coffee grounds are amazing for compost. I save mine every single morning. Don't throw away those filters either. Paper coffee filters break down beautifully. Tea bags are great too. But here's a tip that saved me some trouble. Some tea bags have plastic in them, so if you can, rip them open and just compost the tea leaves. I learned this the hard way when I found a bunch of little plastic bits in my finished compost. Eggshells are fantastic. They add calcium to your compost, which your plants will love later. Just crush them up a bit so they break down faster. Otherwise, you might find whole eggshell pieces in your compost months later. Grass clippings are good, but don't add too much at once because they can clump together and create those anaerobic conditions we talked about. I spread them out in thin layers now. Leaves are perfect, especially in fall. I literally collect bags of leaves from my neighbors because they're composting gold. They think I'm weird, but I don't care. Cardboard and newspaper are great brown materials. I tear up my Amazon boxes and throw them in. My kids actually help me with this part and they think it's fun. Just make sure there's no glossy coating or colored ink. Paper towels and napkins are fine as long as they're not covered in chemicals or cleaning products. Stale bread, pasta, and rice can go in but in small amounts because too much can attract pests. Now here's what you absolutely should not put in your compost, and some of these might surprise you. This is important, so pay attention because these mistakes can ruin your entire compost pile. Never put meat or fish in your compost. This will attract rats, raccoons, possums, and other animals you definitely don't want around your house. It also breaks down really slowly and creates terrible odors. I made this mistake once with some leftover chicken and I regretted it immediately. Dairy products are the same deal. No cheese, no milk, no butter, no yogurt. These smell awful as they break down and bring in pests. Don't compost pet waste. Dog and cat poop can contain harmful bacteria and parasites that can survive the composting process and make you sick later. Diseased plants shouldn't go in either because you might spread that disease to your garden later when you use the compost. That's just asking for trouble. Weeds that have gone to seed are a bad idea because those seeds might survive and then you're basically planting weeds in your garden when you spread the compost. Trust me, you don't want that headache. Here's one that shocked me. Citrus peels are actually debatable. Small amounts are fine, but too much citrus can make your compost too acidic and kill off some of the good microorganisms. I still use orange peels, but I tear them up small and don't use too many at once. Onions and garlic in large amounts can actually slow down the composting process. A little bit is okay, but don't dump a whole bag of onion skins in there. Coal ash is a no-go because it can contain harmful substances. And this should be obvious, but no plastics, no metals, no glass, nothing synthetic. So now you know the science. You know what to put in and what to keep out. Let me show you exactly how to set up your compost system so you actually get results. This is the system that took me from total failure to having more compost than I know what to do with. I'm literally giving bags of it away to friends and family now. First, choose your setup. You can buy a fancy tumbler composter for like $200, build a bin with wood pallets, or just make a pile in your yard. I started with a simple bin I made from chicken wire and wooden posts. Cost me maybe $20 total from the hardware store. Now I have 3 bins going at once because I'm obsessed and I process so much material. Having multiple bins lets me have compost at different stages, so I always have finished compost ready to use. Here's my process, and you can follow this step by step. Start with a layer of brown material at the bottom, maybe 4 to 6 inches. This helps with drainage and airflow. You don't want your compost sitting in water. Then add a layer of green material, about 2 inches. Then more browns, about 3 to 4 inches. Keep alternating, but remember that 3-to-1 ratio we talked about earlier. This is crucial. Every time I add kitchen scraps now, I immediately cover them with brown material. This keeps smells down and prevents flies. I keep a bucket of dried leaves or shredded newspaper right next to my compost bin just for this purpose. Game changer. Seriously, this one habit eliminated probably 90% of the problems I was having. No more fruit flies, no more smell, no more complaints from neighbors. Once a week, I turn the pile. This takes me maybe 5 minutes, 10 if I'm being thorough. I just use a pitchfork and mix everything from the outside toward the center and the center toward the outside. You want that hot center material to get exposure to air. While I'm doing this, I check the moisture level. If it seems dry, I spray it with water for 30 seconds. If it's too wet, I add more browns like shredded cardboard or dried leaves. Here's a trick that speeds everything up dramatically. Chop or break up your materials before adding them. Smaller pieces have more surface area for the microorganisms to work on, so they break down way faster. I used to throw whole apple cores in there, and they'd still be recognizable 3 months later. Now I chop them up roughly with a knife on my cutting board, and they decompose in like 3 weeks. Same with banana peels. I tear them into smaller pieces now. After about 3 to 4 weeks with this method, the stuff I put in first is starting to look like compost. It's darkening, breaking down, and you can't really tell what it used to be anymore. After 2 to 3 months, it's ready to use. You'll know it's ready when it's dark brown, crumbly, smells earthy like a forest floor, and there shouldn't be any recognizable food scraps left. If you still see chunks of stuff, it needs more time. Now here's where it gets really exciting and why I'm so passionate about this. Using this compost in my garden has been absolutely incredible. My tomato plants grew twice as tall, my flowers bloomed longer and more vibrantly. I haven't bought fertilizer in over a year. I'm saving so much money, and my garden has never looked better. But the benefits go beyond just my garden. I'm keeping probably 5 to 10 pounds of food waste out of landfills every single week. When organic matter sits in landfills, it doesn't get oxygen, so it produces methane, which is a really bad greenhouse gas. By composting, I'm actually helping the environment in a meaningful way. My kids are learning about decomposition and nutrient cycles. It's become this cool science experiment we check on together, and honestly, there's something really satisfying about turning trash into something valuable. It feels good. So here's my challenge to you. Start your compost pile this week. Don't overthink it. Get a bin or just make a pile. Start collecting your browns and greens. Follow that 3-to-1 ratio. Turn it once a week. Keep it moist like a sponge. That's it. You can do this. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what your biggest composting question is. I read every single comment and I love helping you guys out. And if you're already composting, share your tips below, because I'm always learning new things from this community. Remember, composting isn't complicated. You just need to avoid those rotten mistakes I made. Get your ratios right, add some air, manage your moisture, and nature does the rest. Trust me, 3 months from now, you're going to have beautiful compost and you're going to feel amazing about it. Let's do this together. I'll see you in the next one.